G'day, back again. Question 5. Which of the following graphs best represents the equation y equals x cubed plus 1? And you're given 4 choices. Now, if you know your graphs, it's a piece of cake. That's a cubic, that's a cubic, the answer is obviously B. Let's say you don't know your graphs. You should know something about your graphs and recognise that's a line. So if that's a line, all you've got in lines is a y and an x. There's no powers in it. You might have y equals with numbers around it, but there's no powers given it, so it's a straight line. What's this one? It's a parabola. So in this case, you've got a y and you've got an x squared, and you might have numbers around it. In this case, you're going to have plus 1. But there's going to be a squared on the x. If you turn it the other way, there'd be a squared on the y. But the squared signifies a parabola. Nothing signifies a straight line. So really, your only choice is to look at this and this if you're ever confused and think, well, what is this? Like I said, if you're up on your graphs, that's y equals e to the x. Let's say you're not up on your graphs and you figure, yep, it's got to be one of those two. They're both going up. When they pass through 1, what happens on this side? Just get your calculator and put in some numbers. Okay, if you put in, let's say, minus 1, or even minus 10, even better, put in a bigger number. Put in minus 10. Let's forget about minus 1. Put in minus 10 on your calculator. If you put it in here, this number, and you put that in there, you're putting minus 10 into your equation, what do you get? Well, you get a really big negative number, just like that graph. Here, you don't. This never goes negative. So, that one's wrong, and your answer's B. G'day again, question 6. The times in minutes that a large group of students spend on exercise per day are presented in a box and whisker plot. So there's the box and whisker plot. What percentage of students spend between 40 and 60 minutes per day on exercise? And it gives you a choice. So 40 and 60, if I'm in the HSC, I'm going to circle those two numbers, 40 and 60, and see where they are, and they're just there. Box and whisker plot, you should remember the basic percentages, that's 0, and if we split it up really evenly, that's, if you'd say that's 100%, it's in the middle, that's at 50%, that's at 25%, and that's at 75%. So usually that's regarded as Q1, that's your median, and that's Q3. So we want in between there and there, 50%, take away 25% is 25%. Easy way, 25, 25, 25, 25. So this gap here is 25%. So the answer is C. Again, question 7. The diagram shows a radial survey of a field A, B, C, D. So here's the field. There's a lot of information on that. In the triangle AOB, what is the size of AOB? So you might think, oh my goodness, I might have to use the cos rule or the sine rule or something. But it's actually quite simple, and they've thrown a lot of stuff in there you don't need. So you want AOB. Now if you're looking at an angle, that's the angle you want, the angle in the middle. So A is there, O is there, and B is there, so you want this angle. So you just look at it, just take that triangle out here. This is 300, and that's north, and that's the hint. This is north. So if that's 300, that is 60. That's north, that's 51. So that's 51. So that's 51 there. 60 plus 51 is 111, and that's it. You're done. The answer's B. G'day again. Question 8. The Louvre pyramid in Paris has a square base with a side length 35 and a perpendicular height of 22. What is the volume of this pyramid to the nearest metre cubed? Now you can look on the back for your formula sheet. You can look at the volume of a pyramid, and it gives you the formula there. So the formula is 1/3 of the height times the area of the base. So this is 35 by 35, the height's 22, so you're going to go 1/3 times 22 times 35 times 35. And pretty much that's it. So you should do that in your calculator and you get C. G'day again. Question 9. From the top of a cliff, 67 metres above sea level, the angle of depression of a buoy is 42 degrees. Then they give you this diagram. How far is the buoy from the base of the cliff to the nearest metre? So this is basic trigonometry. So you should know SOHCAHTOA. Okay, sine, cos, tan. That should be in your head. If it's not, learn it. Okay, so I've got this. It says the angle of depression up here. So depression is going down. So that's 42. But since this is parallel to this, that's also 42. So we've got that angle, this side over here, which is the opposite, and we want to find this distance, which is adjacent. So we're going to use tan. So we're going to go tan 42 equals 67 over this length, and you can call it any letter you want. So we'll just call it L. When you've got this on the bottom, you can switch these two because that's divided by, and you want to multiply to get it up here, and that's, we want to divide by that. So L equals 67 divided by tan 42. Punch that in your calculator, and you get 74.4, which is B. Question 10. A piece of machinery initially worth $56,000 depreciates at 8% per annum. Which graph best shows the salvage value of this piece of machinery over time? And it's quite simple. If you want to go down by 8%, then what you actually got left is 92%, because if you've got 100% minus 8%, you end up with 92%. So if you want to multiply this by 92% every year, it'll keep going down. So you go 56,000 times 0.92 to some power. This is, the graphs are for 30 years, so let's do it to 30. And what do you get? You end up with $4,590 and a few cents. So you've still got money on it after 30 years. So the only graph where there's still money on it after 30 years is A. And that's your answer.